How's it going, everyone? This is Jason Navarro. You're listening to Tongues Out Podcast. And I honestly today wanted to talk about something that I was talking to my mom about. It's like a fun fact Friday. Um, today's Friday, and I owed you guys two fun facts, but today is not a fun day. Today is actually a super, super sad day. I did not even know about this, and I don't think anyone in the world really knew about it. Here's one fun fact to kind of bring some light to what I'm going to talk about. There's been only two movies in my life that I've ever seen in the theater three times. Two movies. No one will ever guess it. Not one of my best friends, not my family, not even my wife when I told her this. Um, the first one, surprisingly, Batman Begins. Um, or sorry, not Batman Begins. I can't believe I'm already. The Dark Knight. Sorry, The Dark Knight. I saw it three times. And the second movie, which came out, I want to say like 3 years ago, was Black Panther. And the reason why I'm talking about that today is that I loved the Black Panther. It got a lot of negative publicity sometimes from people saying that like the CGI was like rough and the movie didn't make sense why that movie deserved to be one of the few Marvel movies to hit over $1 billion. And I don't know what people were talking about. That movie from the very beginning was like super awesome. I loved the message in the movie. I loved the representation that it had, and it's just phenomenal actors in it. And the reason why I'm talking about it today is that, 2020 for a lot of people has been a horrible year for a lot of people. For me, it's been a pretty interesting time period. But honestly, it's been nothing but if outside of just like the world events, if we just talked about just what's in my house and what's going on in my household, it's been nothing but a great year for me. Great new job career. My daughter, I'm having a full year with her and having a new child growing up with her and having the ability to spend more time with her and having a career now that allows me to spend as much time with her as I want. Um, and I've been able to cope with just this pandemic by just being able to be living in an area where it's easy to not have to go out and socialize with the community to get my means and provide for the food on the table. But this moment right here made it shitty for me. I mean 2020 is going to be an interesting year for everyone, but today marks a very dark day for me because I'm a big Marvel fan. I'm a huge Marvel fan. Marvel's like one of my like Star Wars and Marvel. And it's weird that Disney owns both of them. We can talk about like how Disney it just pretty much destroyed Star Wars pretty much. But with Marvel, for some reason, they allowed the right people to manage Marvel, and they've done a phenomenal job with that. And being a fan of Marvel has just been so awesome to see your favorite superheroes on the screen. And today we lose one, like for real. And it was a hero that wasn't someone that was ever planning to be to planning to be lost. I didn't even know like and I don't even want to talk about that. That's just a stupid reason for why I bring this up. But I like right before I started this podcast, I looked at the news. I just was about to do what I normally do, and I regret doing that. But I mean, it's deservingly needs to be talked about because this just again represents inadvertently just a dark period for African Americans. And it just 2020 will go down as a year of a lot of awakening and hopefully movement towards great things. But This has nothing to do with that. It's just news related to this category, which is just unfortunate. One of the best representatives for them in movies, and was a leader for a lot of African Americans, a leader for me. Like, I appreciated a lot of his work that he's had. His movies have been phenomenal. But Chadwick Boseman, he passed away today, and I don't even know how to comprehend that. It's like a Kobe Bryant death. Um, Two different men, but both regarded as phenomenal people and their category of profession, and great representatives for the African American community. And Kobe passed away almost a year ago. And I can't even believe it's almost been a year since his passing. I wasn't a big basketball fan ever. Like, I enjoyed watching basketball, but I really didn't ever have a favorite team. But I definitely respected him. I've seen him play live, and he was a great basketball player, and I would always name him as like one of the top 3 current basketball players that had existed if you had ever asked me. And I mean, he still will go down in history as like one of the best. And I don't think you would ever like hear from me to say that Chadwick Boseman was like the number 1 African American actor. I think there's a lot of people that I grew up with that I would probably put in that category. But he definitely represented to me a figure of great representation for that community. And I just loved him as Black Panther. I cannot envision anyone else taking over that role of being T'Challa, to being the leader of Wakanda. Um, Originally Michael B. Jordan wanted to be T'Challa, and he didn't get the role, and Kevin Feige and the people knew and landed on Chadwick Boseman being the person that was going to portray Black Panther. And I'm glad that they did, because I thought he did a phenomenal job. And we were supposed to see a lot more movies with him, obviously outside of the Marvel scene, and also in the Marvel scene. Black Panther 2 was supposed to come out in 2022. And during all of these movies that he was making in between 2016 and now, and no one knew this, but he had stage 3 colon cancer that he was fighting. And so while he was making all these great movies, and like he was, doing everything he was doing, this guy was behind the scenes fighting cancer. I cannot stand cancer so much. I've lost so many friends, so many people. It personally has affected me. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer almost 8 years ago. Like 6 years ago. Luckily, she beat it, and she's done super well with it. But I've lost a lot of friends personally to cancer. People that are my age, which is just crazy to know about. And I've seen and heard of family members and friends. I've had family members that have passed away from cancer. It's a horrible disease, and it sucks, because cancer is like one of those things that we're trying really hard to control, fight, and completely eradicate from society. But it's challenging, because every cancer is different, and there's no such thing as a one cure-all to cancer, which sucks. And it's scary too, to think that, I mean, he looked healthy. He looked like he was someone that took good care of himself, and he passed away at the age of 43. It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just hard to process, man. And I know there was rumors talking about like how like in the Marvel comics that he, not Chadwick Boseman, but just the character T'Challa, eventually his sister takes over the role of Black Panther for a little bit. And so there was rumors that eventually the woman, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name, but she plays Zuri in the Black Panther, his sister, that she was rumored to possibly take over the helm eventually. And that's why they put a lot of focus around her as well as like one of these strong women characters and things of that nature. And I was excited to see that, but I just could never envision her as Black Panther. Not because she's a woman or anything of that nature. I just felt like T'Challa was just a great, or T'Challa, excuse me, Chadwick Boseman played a phenomenal T'Challa, and he played a great role being that leader of Wakanda, and that he just, even the message at the end of Black Panther was just great. How it showed a world that I wish Africa had. And like Africa has all these resources. It truly does. Like it, and Marvel, they have vibranium, that like a meteorite of vibranium crash landed in Wakanda and gave them advanced technology that they've had for centuries. And they've kept it hidden from society because they didn't want people to take advantage of the technology that they had. And so they did a really good job of pretty much making an African country look poor when, if you knew anything about it, it was actually a super rich country. And when I watched the movie, I really wish that were the case in Africa. That because Africa is full of a lot of natural resources, a lot of valuable resources, but unfortunately, Europeans and a lot of corruption has led to just a complete eradication of any possibility of a good structural system in that society. I mean, it's going to take decades. My daughter's going to be my age before probably that region ever has the ability to kind of come up from the ashes that they're in and be the countries that they need to be. And so when I saw Black Panther, I really envisioned like that part of Africa, like just to name any country that's struggling in the middle part of Africa, in Central Africa. And, that area could have been any of those countries that finally has come up from the corruption, from European control, from a lot of bad history, and is finally like doing something with themselves and having a great leader and an effective leader. And I love the way he portrayed Wakanda at the very end, where like all the leaders before him wanted to shelter and hide Wakanda and its technology from the world, when they knew that the world could use the technology that they had. And in the end of the movie, he was like, no, yes, there's a lot of harm that's done to, in the movie, like what made Jordan, why am I forgetting your name right now? Michael B. Jordan, um, like upset was just like the see how like the African American community was like has been beat down throughout the years or throughout decades. And finally, like when he became the leader of Wakanda, when he if there's a spoiler alert for you, you're doing yourself a disservice by not having already seen this movie. So I'm not gonna feel bad about talking about it. But Michael B. Jordan essentially takes over being Black Panther for a little bit and defeats T'Challa. And his idea was taking all that power and suppressing all other aspects of races and making the African American and African individuals of origin be like the new leaders and defeat all other races. And I love the beauty of T'Challa's message, where it was like, no, I understand that there's a lot of problems that existed. I mean, those problems led to you being the person that you are, and it's super unfortunate that was your history. But that doesn't mean that that's what we need to do to correct the issues of this world. What we need to do is unify the world. And how do we unify it? By protecting it, by not withholding our technology, but giving it to society and helping them and helping everyone. And when you help everyone, when you lend that lending hand, that's where you get the respect, and that's where you get, or not the word respect isn't what he was looking for, where you get the acknowledgement that don't look at me as like a person of my color, but look at me as a person. We're all people. We all share the same planet. And in the end, there's threats out there that are trying to eradicate us, and we need to understand that. And so we need to come together and fight together. I love that message. And so I love the whole movie was just it's like one of my favorite movies. I honestly I love Black Panther. It was like I said, it wasn't only two movies in my life, and I'm a Spider-Man fan. I'm not a Black Panther fan. I actually didn't really read a lot of Black Panther. I've only read about him sometimes when he would show up in different other superheroes comics, but I never really followed him that much. This is being honest. Spider-Man was my favorite Marvel character, but honestly, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe made me a Black Panther fan. I like Spider-Man was still and still always will be my favorite superhero, but Black Panther was definitely up there. He was probably my third one because it was always been Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. I never really had a third, and Black Panther was my third, and it just sucks. I don't know. I keep looking away from the camera because like I feel like I want to get emotional, but I don't at the same time. It's like I don't know how it's hitting me because I honestly, as well as Chadwick Boseman, I didn't watch a lot of his. I didn't know about him actually before Black Panther, and I think that's why it hurts me even more. Like I didn't know his movies before Black Panther came out 2 years ago, and to think that he was fighting cancer during the making of that movie, during the making of Avengers Endgame and all the other movies that he did as well in between those time periods. I just feel for his family. I feel like it just like I said, it's just a shitty year for the African American community. I hope they make the turnaround. I hope they heard his message at least, and I love the message in that movie, and I hope that's the message that everyone takes, is that in the end, we're all, there's no Thanos out there that's coming to kill us or destroy all of the world. There's no thing, but there are things that we should all aspire to work together towards, to work towards like a better end game for this planet, for this future generations, and I just I guess that's ultimately the message he'll always leave for me, is that like I was the most powerful person of one of the most powerful nations in the world in this hypothetical area. But like my message was not to use his power to suppress the world, especially in retaliation for everything it's done to my people, but instead to show that, look, differences exist, history exists, bad things have existed, and but I don't want to be the person that keeps that going. I don't want to be the person that takes that torch of hate and then passes it to the next person. Like I'm gonna take that torch and drop that torch of hate, and just start a new torch, a torch of spreading love. And this world needs more of that. This world it sucks because this world is when I look at it, I feel like people are becoming more narcissistic. Like I'm more important. I'm not going to argue that. Like you live in your shoes, your personal happiness is important. But the thing that bothers me so much is that people think that their happiness needs to be a derivative of other people's time and pain, and I don't like that. I don't like the idea that like you need to be like the only way you can be happy is by diminishing another person. That to me is not the world I want to be a part of. That's such a horrible world. That's like eventually you lose community, you lose trusting people. And I don't live in a community. I don't live in an area where like I like talk to my neighbor every single day. I'm not like, hey Joe, how are you doing? I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about just like the respect for one another, being that we're all the same ultimately. Yeah, we might be different colors, right? We might all look different, but in the end, we're all the same people. We all breathe the same air. We all live on the same planet. We all bleed the same way. We all are trying to figure out what our purpose is like in the little time that we have in this thing that's called time and space. It shouldn't be wasted away stressing out about how the world perceives you, or like I need to be in front of this person or any, like, no, just be happy ultimately, you know. Do the things in your life that are going to make you happy, and try to spread that joy to other people. Try to make other people laugh. Thank you, man. Thank you, Chadwick. It just sucks. It really does. But anyways, sorry guys. I know today was supposed to be a fun fact Friday. It wasn't a fun. It was a fact. Um, yeah. I mean, ultimately, in the end, you know, I'm gonna keep doing this, and I'll catch you guys mañana. Peace.